All right, welcome back to another edition of the Hicksey podcast. We got the big three here today. We got Dave, we got Joe, the Corona Chronicles. We're about five, six episodes deep now in the Corona Chronicles, and I think things overall are getting better as in the health community. I think Joe, you obviously are more prone on the statistics, but how are things looking right now?
Well, coming into today's the fourth straight day where hospitalizations have been dropping in Connecticut. The number of people getting infected is dropping. The death rates obviously are going up, but like I said, either last podcast or two podcasts ago, that number is going to be lagging a bit from the other numbers because it takes 14 to 21 days to either die or be totally cured, or not cured, but you know what I mean, like not have it anymore. So that number is going to be a couple weeks behind. But the most important number is hospitalizations, and that's still going down. It's the same thing with people getting infected every day. It's going down. So it's getting better. It might not seem like it because when you turn on the news, you either hear, "Oh, we're reopening everything," like in Georgia or California. The dude's like, "We might close the state till 2021." Idiot, but
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
it's all over the place. I have noticed that too. Because you're getting places like Florida, I guess. I don't know if is that true. The beaches, are they opening up their beaches?
I know Jacksonville Beach they did. I don't know about all the beaches, but I know some beaches in Florida they did.
Okay. Yeah, I'm hearing things about that. Obviously, you said something about California closing down until 2021. It's just random news. It's nothing is staying consistent. It's just all over the place. So I don't know what's what anymore. So yeah.
Yeah, I did see some areas where we're actually opening up barbershops, opening up some restaurants. Obviously, everyone was still taking some pretty serious precautions. Like the guy I saw in the news that opened up his barbershop, he was in a full suit and face mask while giving people haircuts. But I don't know, man. I think at this point, I think the worst of it is now behind us as far as the most people getting infected from it. I think now is, I think a good time for us to start slowly working our way back to normalcy. I don't think it can be a full-fledged effort, but there also needs to be a part where we need to get our economy going, getting people back to work, because there are people, of course, waiters, waitresses in particular, and then like I just said, barbershops that are closed. And, I think it might be a good time to get people back to work. And I think, this is America, man, and we can find innovative ways to get things done while still being safe at the same time.
Exactly, man. Yeah, and you hit it on the head. People got to start getting back to work because, the head of the FDA was saying, they're hoping to have like a vaccine or like a cure in like 2021 March. But the problem is, they're trying to find a vaccine and a cure for the common cold, basically. That's kind of what this virus is. Right. They should be focusing more on treatment because it'd be a lot easier to be like, oh, you have to take this medicine for a week and then you're better than, oh, you know what I mean? Like getting this shot because it mutates so much. This was a couple of days ago. There's like 35 different mutations of coronavirus. Wow. Nothing like lethal, like, oh my gosh, I'm going to once again walk down the street and drop dead. But it's little mutations here and there that, it's got 35 different mutations now and it's going to keep growing. It's basically like the common cold. And eventually you got to get to a point where I know, some people might, get mad when people talk like this, but you almost got to kind of let it run its course and have like nature do its thing, as barbaric and as cruel as that sounds. It's the truth, because what are we going to do? Close? Because in the fall and the winter, we're going to get another wave of this. And what are they going to do? Close down everything again?
Exactly.
It gets to a point here. Once again, I know I said this last time. We cannot afford it.
Yeah. We'll go back to recessions again.
Like I'm doing this thing online. There's apparently a way you can sign up for unemployment and you're getting $600 a week. I'm signing up. I'm trying to get that right now. If I get that $600 a week for unemployment, I'm not going to work. I'm not going to work until Prospect, Park and Rec reopens because that's what I'm going to file like unemployment for. But if that works, people are going to start saying, why am I going to go back to work if I can literally do what I'm doing now and get $600 a week for it? That's insane. That's like the economy. We're not going to have enough money.
Exactly. Yeah,
to come out of this. Yeah, it's crazy.
Now I have a question. Do you guys think like things are gonna go back to being normal, like after this whole thing is gone away?
In what way,
Like,
Dave?
like for
Be
example, like
specific.
I was hearing something about like sports. They were saying like if let's say you go to like an event or whatever, you're gonna have to like families and people are gonna have to sit like a couple of seats in between. Like they're gonna have a couple of seats, empty seats between each other, so no one like gets the virus or whatever like that, or some kind of contagion plan like that, stuff like that. Like for example, work. Before you go to work, you're gonna have to like get checked out. You're gonna have to get like your temperature taken, stuff like that. You think that's gonna be the norm going forward? From now is now, or is everything's going to go back to normal the way it was?
I think, Matt, you want to go first,
No, Joe, you probably have a better perspective on it than I do, so go ahead.
I mean, I think, like immediately following this, yeah, that's going to be the norm for a while. Yeah. But there's going to come a point, I'm going to touch on the sports part first. I'm going to get into like the work part, like I said. With sports, there's no way the people that own these stadiums are going to be like, oh, we can only sell 66% of the tickets basically to space people out. Eventually, we're going to get back to normal where, people are going to be packed stadiums. There's not going to be any space requirements because, eventually, once again, people need to make money. These things, sports are expensive. They got to, fill up seats. But I feel like in a year or two, eventually, whether they find a vaccine or find like treatment for it, people are going to realize, listen, if we get it, we get it. Most of the country at some point within the next year is going to get it. We might have it right now and not have any symptoms. That's the thing. And when it comes to work, I feel like there's only a point where you're telling me I'm going to have to wear a mask to work every day for the rest of my life. Oh. I feel like there's going to come a point where it's going to get to the point where, things are going to, like once they find a vaccine for it, I think it's going to go back to normal. Because once again, that's the whole argument that was at the beginning of coronavirus. The flu's been around forever. And we haven't been putting on masks and sanitizing everything because of the flu. And the flu kills hundreds of thousands of people every year. Once again, I know coronavirus is more serious. Whoever watches this might be like, oh, my God, what an asshole. It's the truth, though. Because eventually we're going to find the treatment to where this is going to become like the flu.
Yeah, come and kill it, basically.
And if this keeps up forever, like, the Fauci said, we're not going to be able to shake hands ever again. You're telling me I'm going to go in for a job interview and be like, oh, hey, man, what's going on? Oh, how are you? Start knuckling. No, I'm gonna shake your hand.
That'd be pretty funny though.
Yeah, it would be funny. But one thing though, Dave, something's going to change, like movie theaters out of business because people are going to be paranoid about, drive-in movie theaters going to make a big comeback. That's one thing. Drive-in movie theaters. I'd be down for that. Yeah. But a lot of stuff where you're indoors in like a confined space, like I feel like you're going to start seeing a lot more like in obviously the warmer months. Supermarkets have a lot of like outdoor shopping areas now. Like you're going to see a big, like stuff's going to move to almost like semi-outdoor kind of thing because people are still going to be paranoid about being, cramped, huddled up. But I think, Dave, things are going to go back to normal for the most part.
Matt?
I think there'll definitely be a little bit differences. I remember someone did an interview with John Taffer, who is the host of Bar Rescue. He's like a restaurant expert. He's like an extraordinaire at it. And he said that restaurants are going to be a little bit, more precautious. I think like the waiters are going to start wearing gloves when they're bringing their stuff out, switching gloves out, wearing face masks. He thinks that's going to be not just for now, but for the foreseeable future, which in a way kind of makes sense. You think about a waiter or waitress, the amount of people that they talk to, interact with, they're touching everyone's food. I think it only makes sense that in the long run, I think they'll be doing that a lot more. So I think restaurants, you'll start seeing a couple of differences there. How long that will last for, I don't know how long. But Dave, you mentioned earlier sports. I think maybe we may start off seasons where everything's very isolated. Like they're only playing at for let's say baseball, for example, because that's in season right now. They'll only play in like 2 or 3 stadiums. All the players are going to have to get tested, and the odds of them, I think, playing in front of crowds start the season off is pretty low. But
thank you, Dave.
Joe, like you mentioned, I think eventually these commissioners are going to be like, well, we're going to have to start making a profit off something, and like I said earlier in the podcast, this is America, man. I mean, we're innovators. You know what I mean? I feel like there's a way there's better way to do this outside of just social distancing, and eventually, I mean, the reason they did this in the first place isn't to completely stop it. I mean, it's almost impreventable, like you guys said, but it's really to try to flatten the curve and try to, make it a little bit easier on healthcare workers, so they, so you're not getting too many people in the hospitals. So if we're at the point now here in the East Coast, now obviously we're the first place that really I think got hit hard. So now the rest of the country is going to have to start catching up. So maybe the rest of the country, like out in the West Coast or maybe in like the Midwest and places like that, it's going to be like a month or two for them to kind of be where we're at as far as I don't know how the curve is. So it'll be interesting to see exactly how they approach it. If they'll try to be a little bit more precautious and to try to prevent it, or if they'll just kind of like follow suit. So we'll see. But I'm hoping that eventually they see, I don't know, they see the advantages of opening up stuff again and kind of just letting people live, because eventually, I mean, people are just going to start going crazy. They're just they're going to start getting cabin fever. They're going to want to, and I mean, if
like,
you're going
to look already. I'm sorry to cut you off, but like look already in California where they have the stay-at-home orders and stuff. There's people at Huntington Beach, California. There was 5,000 people at the beaches, and they were packed during the stay-at-home order. Police were trying to tell people to leave, but then it gets to a point. What are you going to do? Start doing mass arrests to people going to the beach? It's California, 85 degrees, people in sunny. People aren't going to stay in their house all the time. That's why I'm kind of happy the weather since we've been back has been so crappy out for the most part. Because it almost it's like, all right, I'll stay inside. But yesterday when it was nice out, I was like, man, it'd be a perfect day to go down to the rec, play some basketball, go hang out with you guys. But it's days like today where it's rainy and gross out where I'm like, all right, I can totally stay home. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, it was actually, I was speaking about yesterday. It was actually kind of depressing too, because I went outside and I was like, this would be a fantastic day to do, hang out with my friends, do whatever, but I couldn't because and also you were saying something about warm weather too. I feel like down south more, like obviously where the weather's warmer, I feel like they probably have an advantage because I know the virus doesn't do well with warm weather. So obviously that's probably why they're opening up things. They're probably they're not worried about the virus going to taking over because
is that a fact, Joe? Do you know if that's a fact or not?
I know it definitely. The virus doesn't do as well in the heat, which is a big thing. But at the same time, the numbers, it's kind of skewed down in Florida because the big cities, they're still, it's kind of bad. But also, too, in a lot of these big cities, even with the beaches closed, people are still trying to go to the beaches. Like I know in Jacksonville, they showed the beaches are packed in Jacksonville, Florida. Like they opened up their beaches. And, you're going to still have stuff like that. Like right now, obviously, we've, done our job up here flattening the curve, and it is starting to go down or in some place, hit the peak. But I feel like, social distancing nationwide, I think Trump has it till May 20th, I believe. I don't know. No,
I believe he has it till April 30th. It's Lamont, governor, has it until May 20th.
Oh, okay. So Lamont has it till May 20th. But, and some states are going to be different. You know what I mean? Some states are going to go even longer with social distancing stuff. But I know, for us, till May 20th, if we keep doing this, less than 5 people, by the time Memorial Day hits, it's going to start getting warm out. People are going to have to go outside. You know what I mean? They're not going to really be able to do this much longer. I don't think they're going back to school for the rest of the year, though. That's one thing. You were about to say something, Dave.
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, the only thing I'm really worried about is you were talking about mutations before, and this is a fairly new virus. So, what if the heat doesn't do anything to it? That's another thing I'm worried about. Obviously, in general, if you look at the cold typically does a lot more damage in the fall and winter times. But again, this is completely new. We've not seen this before. So what if it's adapted to the heat or whatever? It's heat resistant. I don't know. So that's another thing that worries me too. So.
Well, I saw they had a scientist on the Joe Rogan podcast, and this was really early, right before the coronavirus really started taking off. It was just kind of at that first part where we started social distancing, and I listened to the podcast, and what he said was they had a disease very similar to this in the Middle East. And he said, I mean, it's the Middle East, it's 100 degrees, 110 degrees every single day. They have a very dry, hot climate, and I mean, it didn't really stop spreading there. So,
exactly.
It didn't have a problem growing. So, I'm not. So that's why I asked before if that was a 100% fact or not. If he doesn't do well in the heat, but yeah, I guess we'll have to wait and see. Definitely, you guys mentioned, it's going to be very difficult for us when it starts getting warmer to, number one, get the Memorial Day parties, got the 4th of July parties where everyone's outside trying to get together, which I think in a way, if you think about it, if everyone's outside, I don't think it's as dangerous as if everyone's packed into a restaurant or a bar kind of interacting in that way. I think if you have like a picnic, and as long as everyone kind of keeps that 6-foot barrier, and I feel like it's, somewhat controlled.
Exactly, and it's easier to control it outside than it is, inside. Because at the end of the day, even like with events and stuff, like I'm looking around my room, we're still in a confined area, and for the most part, the virus can only spread around my room. But when we're outside talking, there's a lot more. It dissipates more and more. So,
well, we'll have to wait and see. Hopefully, this doesn't bleed into the football season, NFL football season, because that's all I live for basically at this point. Is
dude, if we don't have March Madness, which already got canceled, and college football and NFL doesn't happen on time, I'll blow my brains out.
Suicide rates would go up, guaranteed.
All jokes aside, Dave, especially like down south, where like football's religion, dude.
Yeah.
Like not even
people
like
are gonna have nothing to do. I feel like people are gonna start drinking more. And
more deaths.
It's gonna be the pandemic is gonna be people killing themselves because they're drinking and whatever.
Yeah,
they don't have football to watch. Maybe we'll do the inverse because people typically like to drink and watch football. So I don't know. I don't know. But anyway, the NFL draft that started Thursday. And it was very different. Unlike any other NFL draft, typically for years and years they had it in New York at the Radio City Music Hall. But now the NFL has started taking it to different locations. This year it was supposed to be in Vegas. Of course, that got canceled. And it was, people were calling it a live sporting event. It wasn't really a live sporting event. It was a draft. But it meant something, right? It had, something. It wasn't a replay of something that happened a year ago. We already know the result. It was fresh. It was new. They had to find an innovative way to do it. A lot of people were very suspicious going into the draft. Were there going to be glitches and such stuff like that? But, as far as I'm concerned, from what I read, it seemed as if everything went pretty well. The broadcast itself, a couple glitches here and there. But as far as the actual drafting, everything got called in right. The commissioner was able to get all the picks in, so I don't know, Joe. What did you think about this year's draft?
I liked it. This whole past week, from last Sunday to now, has been the first time in a while where I kind of felt kind of normalcy with sports. Last Sunday and this Sunday were the MJ docs parts 1 through 4, and Thursday, Friday, Saturday was the draft. This draft already broke every viewership record ever for the NFL draft,
as we suspected.
Yeah. And, for the most part, though, when you think about it, people were like, oh, it's going to be weird. The draft's not going to be, like, at a place. In reality, people are like, it's going to be weird. It's in the studio. They basically have the draft in studio, but the studio is located in, like, Vegas or Cleveland or whatever it is. So, really, it didn't really feel that different to me. Especially the first round. It still felt like, oh, man, like, I'm sitting wondering who they're going to take. When the Jets got Mekhi Becton on 11, at first I was like, man, because I would have liked Jerry Jeudy. But then I'm like, we desperately needed an offensive line. And you know what I mean? But, stuff like that, it felt good to, like, argue about sports and, like, texting friends, getting mad about stuff and, like, having, our group chat, we were talking about the draft and having, my friends from school complaining that the Eagles had one of the worst drafts ever to them. But it was awesome. It was awesome to just talk and get mad about
every
sports.
Eagles draft.
Dude, anything the Eagles do, it's hilarious. If they do something good, it's the best thing to happen in the history of the franchise. Anything bad's the worst thing. There's no in between. It's hilarious.
I was watching EDP 445 just go off, and I was really depressed, man. I was like, oh my god,
he looks so unhealthy. Bad. He does not look good.
Can we take a moment to talk about our boy EDP? I'm very concerned for EDP.
Yes.
Yeah, dude.
Quarantine is not doing him very good. He's very.
Yeah, I'm actually worried because he's a legend.
And he's a treasure. He's America's treasure right now.
Oh, of course.
Maybe the funniest man alive.
That's true.
He's up there. A lot of memes.
But I am I'm very worried about him. Number one, he's prone to the disease. He is overweight. Overweight people are.
Overweight is an understatement. This guy is morbidly overweight.
He's morbidly obese. If this guy gets coronavirus, I don't know if he can fight it off.
Yeah, man.
And if there's no EDP,
I mean, we might also have a second.
No EDP, no NFL football, no March Madness.
Well,
that's not a world I can live in.
That's it for the Hicksey Nana podcast. You're gonna have to find another host. But anyways, kind of getting back to it, the draft different. Everyone was kind of in their house. Typically you have the guys in the green room and you can kind of see them sweating out. The guys that are dropping, they're kind of sweating and all that. They're looking at their phone trying to find the guy. Instead, it was a little bit more. I don't know. It was contained. Like everyone was kind of just in their house with their 4 or 5 people. They can't have a big draft party anymore because, of course, social distancing and all that. So, I thought overall, though, the draft, pretty predictable. The top 10, no pick. There wasn't really a pick where I was like, wow, that was completely outrageous. I thought for the most part. Outside of the Raiders had some interesting selections there in the first round, but, if you get your guy, pick your guy. So it's the NFL draft. Dave, you got a topic for us today, buddy?
Actually, no. I was gonna talk to you guys more about the draft. I was gonna say, how did your respective teams do with the draft?
I think the Jets did really well, and which is it's like I think obviously I'm a little bit biased coming Jets fan. I think we had definitely one of the best drafts this year. We hit on a lot of needs. We got Becton, and we got who's the kid. See, I'm bad with remembering names. Like when I first hear about them, we got an offensive tackle from Charlotte. Kid I didn't really hear about. So I'm like, Charlotte's not really that good of a team. But then they showed his highlights they played Clemson this past year. They lost 70-3, but in all the highlights, he's tossing the Clemson D lineman around. I mean, he's just mauling them. So, that got me really excited for him. We got Mims in the second round, who I thought was, kind of a steal for where he was at like pick 59. And my favorite pick of the entire draft, though, was in the 5th round. We got Bryce Hall, corner from Virginia, which, we needed another cornerback. And for what we got, like where we got him, going into the season, he was projected to be like a second rounder, maybe even first rounder, like depending on what teams needed him. And we got him in the 5th round. So I'm really happy with that pick. And overall, I was really impressed with the Jets draft this year.
You guys got a punter too out of
we got the best punter in college football, like going off of the past 2 years and like all the awards and stuff. We needed a punter though, like a good, solid punter. So that was a really good pick too.
And also
like a sneaky pick.
That kid Ashton Davis from Cal. I'm an Oregon fan, so I watch a lot of Pac-12 games. He's a beast, man. He's a beast.
Yeah, dude, he is.
Remember, there was one play that he had. It was a post corner. I believe it was Jalen Red running the route for Oregon, and Herbert had him open, and this guy he's fast, man. He came in, he was able to kind of like adjust himself and then outrun Jalen Red, who's he's no slouch, man. He's real quick.
Yeah.
He was able to pick it off. And he didn't return it, but had a big pick. So that guy, that's a good pick for you guys too in the 3rd round.
I like that pick too.
So for the Patriots, it was kind of the way the Patriots draft is. You don't know anyone because they find these random dudes from some freaking who knows what school, and they drafted some kid from some D2 college, and that was their first pick in the 2nd round because they traded out of their 1st round because why would they actually draft a player in the 1st round and get us all excited just to, trade it away, and they do it every year. So we got this D2 guy. Picked up a couple pass rushers. This one kid from Michigan I really like. Apparently he's already played with Winovich, who's on the Patriots at Michigan, so they have some good chemistry there. But I was kind of expecting them to go quarterback. You lose your franchise quarterback in Tom Brady. I kind of was expecting them to be a little bit more aggressive, try to move up, but kind of how the draft went. You had Burrow go 1, we knew that. But then, there was talk, maybe the Dolphins or the Chargers, they'll trade out, they'll pass on a quarterback, take an offensive tackle. And then I thought, maybe Herbert, starts falling Herbert or Tua starts falling their way down. 13, there was the Niners. The Niners didn't have a lot of picks, so I was suspecting maybe the Patriots move up there, grab their guy. Kind of didn't work out that way. So then I was like, maybe we get Jordan Love. They pass on, they trade out of the first round.
I'm surprised. Yeah, you guys didn't try to even just, But once again, I mean, Bill Belichick's greatest coach of all time. He knows something we don't.
Yeah, I was just about to ask you. Do you think he's doing that on purpose, just like grabbing these randos and then kind of like molding them into these like mythical legends? Basically, is that his thing?
I think he looks for guys who are hungry, like they haven't done it already. Like this kid from D2. I kind of read the story on him. He went into high school, didn't get any D1 offers. He was undersized going into college. Started off, I think, at 5'11", 180. Now he's 6'2", 230. So he gained a ton of weight, and now he's super fast. And he was obviously the best player, defensive player in his conference in D2 football. So I think he's looking for guys that try to, they want to work hard and have a strong work ethic. This other guy from Michigan that we got is from like Nigeria, and he kind of came in and he had to battle his way to become kind of learn how to play football and become an edge rusher. He only started his final season, so I think he kind of looks for guys like that who are hungry and want to compete and will kind of, because he's not like every coach. He's very demanding. He's a disciplinary guy, so he wants guys that will respond well to his coaching style.
Got it. Yeah, because I was gonna.
Dave, do you have any idea what the Seahawks did in the draft?
I didn't watch draft because
Oh.
I was sleepy, I guess. So I didn't watch anything. But I should.
Dave, you're always talking about how you want to get into football.
I know.
You have to enjoy. You have to do the process, Dave. You can't just jump into week 1 and start watching, or go into the Super Bowl and start watching. You have to do the process, Dave.
And this was
it
the
might-
perfect
It starts with the
excuse.
draft.
This was the perfect excuse with quarantine.
No excuse.
Like this is the perfect time to get into football. Quarantine, there's nothing going on.
Yeah, I dropped the ball on that one. I was tired that day. It was a very long, stressful day for me that day. So
Yeah, 8 p.m. on a Thursday.
Go ahead, Dave. What was your day? What was your day like?
well, woke up, a lot of schoolwork, a lot of stuff I had to bang out. Worked out, which was exhausting. I came home and I just passed out. So yeah, that was it. But no, that was I dropped the ball in this one. That was my bad. I'm gonna try to make it up somehow. Maybe watch some of the some highlights or whatever, and then try to process the whole thing. But yeah, I dropped the ball in this one, guys. So I apologize. My neck.
So that's why every single time you say you're like, I'm getting into it this year. No, you're not, Dave.
I don't know. I don't have. What is the word I'm looking for? I'm not dedicated enough. I don't know why. I need to have that hunger for sports. I don't have it. I'm gonna try to find it. But
let me pull up the Seahawks draft picks, Dave.
yeah,
I'm gonna start saying some names.
Well, I remember their first pick was the linebacker from Texas Tech, which kind of everyone was a little bit surprised about. But looking at his stats here, he was a guy that had, I think, 120 tackles last season. Obviously playing in the Big 12. There's not a lot of defense, so I was surprised they took a guy from the Big 12. But looking at him, he was a good stat guy. In second round, I believe they had a pretty high pick too. I forget exactly who they drafted, but he was another guy where I was like not 100% sure who he was. Yeah, Darrell Taylor, never heard of him. Damian Lewis out of LSU. He's a big mauler. He's a good run blocker. He's gonna have to work on his pass blocking though. You guys had 8 picks. That's a lot. That's pretty good in my selection. Jordan Brooks. See if anyone else stands out to me.
I'm gonna guess we didn't do that good if you're not seeing anyone of any high caliber.
That's not really.
Kuiper gave you guys a B, but once you guys got Brooks.
I think Freddie Swan. He's a pretty quick receiver. 4.46.
You guys really, you guys did really, you got Damian Lewis in the 3rd round, but you guys, really needed an O-lineman. You needed an edge rusher because, Jadeveon Clowney's not coming back. And, you got Jordan Brooks, inside linebacker. You could definitely move him down. You got Darrell Taylor. He's a D-end. Definitely, work that in there. But for the most part, I feel like you guys just kind of were going almost like best guy available at times. So.
Houston, yeah. Okay, that's fair. You know what? Next year I'll sign up for the draft and I'll try to get in. I already have the hat. I'm basically halfway there. So
sign up as in like you're gonna play.
You're gonna play.
What position are you gonna play, Dave?
Probably like, if anything, I think I could be a good linebacker.
Inside or outside?
Whichever one is less painful. I don't know.
That's not the right answer, Dave.
Dave, less painful. Dave, then don't even play football. Be a kicker.
No. Actually, you know what, Joe? You've seen my kicking skills before. You saw me kick that, like.
All jokes aside, Dave, you have a boot. If you actually worked on it, you never know.
Yeah,
Dave's doing that. I'm telling you, Dave's got a boot. Dave was hitting. This was back. Jeez.
It was like a while ago, man.
I think I've heard this story.
Game,
oh yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Yale Harvard, like I think it was my sophomore year, your guys' junior year, and we went over to the practice field, and Jack Ahern, our friend, had a football, so we did like his field goal kick competition, and Dave's booting him. I mean, at one point we were like 45 yards out. Dave's hitting 45-yard field goals. It's crazy.
Obviously,
the accuracy is suspect, but the power is there.
My form was also like, it wasn't really, I was just kind of like kicking the ball. I didn't have a form, but I feel like if I improved on that, I might have a shot. But honestly, like, I'm going to be honest with you. I feel like I'd be best suited for like tackling people because I have that build. But I don't know. We'll see. Maybe next year I'll sign up. We'll see. We'll get it going,
Yeah, we'll get a. We should do that. We should get like a website. We'll come up with like these fake.
Dave, where are you transferring to? Like, because you're going to be done at Naughty Valley soon, right?
Yeah, I'll probably UConn.
Listen, dude, UConn's in trouble right now. They don't got a conference. A lot of players left the program. Dave, start getting you in the gym. Start kicking some field goals. Sending out some tape. Randy Etzel might be calling you up.
All right, we'll start doing it. You guys got to train me with your football knowledge here. So you guys got to train me, and I'll really do good.
I don't know. I don't know how to play football.
As long as you
get, I mean, you have the knowledge, though. You guys have the knowledge. You guys are basically experts. Like the way you discuss football, the way you go.
Dave, I don't have knowledge about kicking.
Oh,
I'll take you out there.
I'll be a linebacker. I'll be a linebacker. Guys, just show me what to do, and I'll go in there.
All right.
Whatever.
All right.
Oh man.
Dave, you have a random topic, or you want to go right into things we like, things we hate?
Not really a random topic again. I just it might be, but so the other day I was having some sweet potatoes, right? And I was thinking to myself, sweet potatoes are far superior than regular potatoes. I can't.
That's where you're wrong, Dave. That's where you're wrong.
Okay, listen. Regular potatoes, first of all, to me anyways, it tastes like nothing. It tastes like air. I have the same like joy or sucking up air than like eating the potatoes. It doesn't have any flavor to me. I don't like it. Even if I put like some kind of like pepper or whatever.
So French fries taste like nothing to you?
Okay, well when it's okay, maybe I should rephrase it. Mashed regular potatoes. That I don't like. I'm not a big fan of it. Just like even regular potatoes in general. Like let's say like you put it in the oven and trying to have it for dinner or whatever. I don't like that.
Like a baked potato?
Yeah, like a baked potato. I don't like that. Sweet potatoes on the other hand. I just find it.
Potato? You're telling me you don't like baked potato? Have some potato skins with some bacon, a little bit of sour cream on there.
Sweet potato is far superior. It's first of all, I feel like sweet potato is probably healthier for you.
Well, it is, but who cares?
I care about the healthy stuff. You know me. I'm the one of those like geeks with the health and whatever. But I don't know. I'm just not a big fan of, whatever. I'm just not a big fan of regular potatoes, dude. I can't do it. Like for example, when we have Thanksgiving and stuff, I typically I skip over that and I just go straight for everything else. I skip.
Dave, you no. Dave, do you remember the physics of Thanksgiving? You're completely blowing the equation off the map. Because typically the potatoes, Dave, give me a second. The potatoes is the base of your plate. It's what keeps everything you build around the potatoes.
I get that. Just the base is not my favorite base. I like the sweet potatoes because
what's your base?
Well, I go for because we have sweet potatoes. We have alternatives. We have sweet potatoes. So I typically put that as my base, and then I build around the base. I personally think they're superior. I just don't like regular potatoes.
You can't put gravy on a sweet potato and it tastes good. It doesn't taste the same.
That doesn't work.
Yeah,
exactly, Dave.
I have checked it out before and it's not good. But then I skip over the gravy. Then I just go for the potatoes and everything else. I just don't have the gravy.
Dave. What do you have for like gravy? Is it like homemade at your house, or do you just get the stuff in the can?
No.
It is homemade. Okay, all right. I just want to know because some people like I know one guy I work with, Paulo. He's Portuguese, so his his parents and his girlfriend's parents just don't know how to do Thanksgiving. So he's like, I really don't like Thanksgiving because the food stinks. But I was like, he told me, I'm sure if I went to your house, like I'd like it a lot more because we actually know how to make it. So I didn't know.
No, we go hard for Thanksgiving. We do
Okay.
go hard. But I'm just not a big fan of the sweet potato. I mean the regular potatoes. I'm probably committing a crime right now. I'm probably up there with those bad guys, whatever. But like, I just don't like potatoes in general. I can't do it. So, yeah, that's my thing for today, I guess. My random topic. You guys probably disagree with me, but it is what it is.
You're
We
a
do.
sociopath.
I'm not a sociopath. It doesn't taste good to me.
All right.
It tastes flavorless.
All right. Let's move on. Things we like, things we hate. Who's first?
I
Please,
want
me,
to
right?
say I think it is you this time. Yes.
Me.
Then
Dave,
me,
and
then Dave, because it goes. I'm going like this. You guys can't see me.
boy, all right. This confuses me every time. All right. Thing I like. One thing I like.
You should write this down, Matt. You always say this. You just don't do it.
I do. You know what I'm liking? I'm liking the tip money I've been getting doing all these deliveries. So I've typically, up to this point, have been just like a cashier the last the last few months or so, working at Oliver's. But now with this coronavirus thing going on, we needed a delivery driver. So everyone was asking like, oh, who should be the delivery driver? So I was, I threw my hat and I was like, I'm a pretty good driver, perfect driving record, no accidents, no tickets, no nothing. And eventually I got the spot. And being a delivery driver, let me tell you, it is fantastic. Number one, you're not in the stores. So you don't have to really deal with any of the customers other than the quick interaction you have at the end. But typically people want to stay in their house anyways because they don't want to get my germs or whatever because I'm scary. So I just drive all the way, Prospect, Waterbury, Cheshire, Wolcott, Bethany, sometimes in Beacon Falls, and just dropping off stuff. And then I get back at around, 12:30, 1 o'clock, go for lunch. Then afterwards, I just shop, and I shop for the next day's deliveries, and then I go home.
This is a stupid question.
Kind of digging that.
Dumb question.
Yeah, nice.
Are you using your own car or are you using like the company?
No, I'm not using my own car. Actually, I'm using a van.
Oh, wow.
They bought a van. Yeah, I guess all the rest of LeBron stores already had a delivery service already in place. And
damn, LeBron sounds like lit right now, dude.
I also got a LeBron's uniform too. So
shoot.
Yeah, nice burgundy red.
Ooh.
It's definitely a different mix up from the black and gray we used to have at Oliver's. Bring a little color into the supermarket, no question about it. Things I hate, and this is gonna be controversial, but these freaking commercials of like, let's stay together, guys. Everyone lock arms. We can do it. Let's go. It's so freaking depressing, and it's so, I don't know. It's just,
it's cheesy.
Every commercial is the same. Like, guys, we can do this if we do it together. And I'm like, it's every single commercial. I mean, it started really with the draft, because the draft, they're obviously, listen, shout out to everyone that's out there, the people all the nurses, all the first responders out there. It's nothing against you. It's against the companies that are using this as a way to get money. Yeah. Exactly, as a way of propaganda. I cannot stand it. It's driving me nuts. I just want to go back to stupid State Farm commercials and stupid Progressive commercials where they all just steal each other's stupid jokes. That's what I'm looking forward to. I'm sick and tired of these stupid, they're trying to sell product off of people's misfortune. That is the thing I hate. That's pretty good. That was pretty good, guys. That was right off the top of my head. Didn't write that down. I think A+ draft grade for me. Joe, you're up.
Well, one thing I saw starting May 1st, the NBA is going to start allowing their players to go to the training facilities and, start training as a team again, which I'm loving because, it's hope for the future. Because once again, what I think is going to happen with the NBA and the NHL, that if they bring it back, which they're going to bring it back, I'm knocking on wood, fingers crossed. Even if it's the Widow fans, they're going to dive right into the playoffs, and it's going to be from like June to August, and then they're not going to start next season till Christmas, like Christmas Day. And that's one thing, I'm loving because, now we can start jumpstarting this process of sports starting to come back. And one thing I don't like, though, now, the opposite side of the coronavirus sports coin, the minor league baseball had to cut 40 teams. There are 40 teams that don't exist anymore in minor league baseball. Out of 160 teams, there are now only 120 teams. So that's a huge drop in, I think that's 25% of all minor league teams got wiped out.
So what'd you say? You said 30 teams?
I think 40. I could be wrong. I think the report
40
was like
teams.
40.
Let's say there's roughly 32 players on each roster. So that's 12. That's almost 1,300 players that are without a job now for minor league baseball.
That's insane. And like depending on what the level it was, if they're all like single A, these guys might not have another shot. So it kind of sucks for these guys, and it kills teams' development for the future. Because it's not like, once it's all over, they're all going to come back. No. A lot of these teams are probably gone forever. So, that sucks. But
a lot of jobs.
That's what's going on right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of guys, their last.
And it's not just the players, too. It's also the people that run the facilities, the people that.
People run the facilities, coaches, training staff, for the minor league teams. All them, they're losing their jobs. And some of them, are going to get lucky and picked up by other teams. But for the most part, a lot of people are done. And these stadiums, it hurts the local economy too. Like I know, up at school and even, up in Hartford, we have the Hartford, Yard Goats. And, I feel like the downtown Hartford area gets more money the nights when the Yard Goats play than when they don't play. I'm not saying, they're like the Red Sox, but, it's.
But even I remember
going downtown.
I remember New Year's Eve, I went over to because my mom works up in Hartford, so me, my dad, and my brother went up to go get lunch up there because my mom had to work. So in Hartford, we were talking to one of the bartenders over there, and he was telling us, he's like, is it busy? Will it be busy tonight? He's like, well, yeah, the Wolfpack play tonight, and I was like, oh yeah, the Wolfpack. Like the amount of people he's like, sales are always up when there's a Wolfpack game, and they're typically more busy, even if it's just an AHL hockey team. It's little things like that, that kind of help the economy a little bit.
Got to bring back the Whalers.
Got to bring them back, bro. Got to bring them back.
We need it really bad. That's my last thing.
Well, that's the thing that gets me really quick. I'm just gonna add on what you were saying. Like that's what gets me too. It's like all these people are gonna be losing your jobs, like sports people and everyone in general, small businesses. That's why this thing needs to die away really fast because it's gonna affect a lot of people in a negative way. I don't like that. Things I like. I got Disney Plus. Oh, not really got it. Ed gave it to me. Ed gave it to me, of course. But I'm watching a couple of shows here and there. I've been watching, catching up on some of the Marvel stuff. I'm catching up on some Star Wars, not the new stuff. I already watched The Mandalorian, but I'm watching Star Wars, Clone Wars, season 7. That's new season, and I'm liking it so far. It's been a blast. I love it. Again, catching up on some of the shows I wasn't able to watch as a child, really. So it's been fun with that.
You watching Straight Life of Zach and Cody, Dave?
Yes. It's a great show. Mr. Mosby.
That's the ultimate childhood.
Tank. Yes, Mr. Mosby is an actual tank. Things I hate.
Come on, Dave. There's gotta be something you hate out there.
It's not really out there. It's just my personal life, I guess. Again, I always have a yin and yang or a hate-love relationship with my instruments. But drumming, man, sometimes I just want to just throw my drums away, man, because we're trying to learn on a couple of difficult songs. Well, I know it's not really much of a thing to say, but
I wanted Joe to say the story. He said it in the group chat last night.
Last night, Dave. It's 8. It's 8 o'clock, which I know isn't late. You know what I mean? But for this quarantine, it felt like midnight. But we're sitting there and we have our windows open and we're about to watch a movie. And all of a sudden, I hear my brother's like, everyone shut up. And we're like, what? And he goes, Dave's drumming. I go, no way. We're all quiet. We hear coming all the way from your basement, vibrating the entire neighborhood. And I'm telling you, Dave, on a night where you were drumming and it's no sound like it was last night, you could hear it standing at Craig Starkey's house on the corner. And Dave, it's so loud. And you do it at how does your mom not go down and just beat you? It's crazy.
Well, no, she does. Well, typically my cutoff is at 8 o'clock. But
And
like,
it was past 8, Dave.
I was feeling rebellious just that day, all right? I was feeling very edgy, so I was like, I'm gonna go down and get some quick, ramen out of the way, and what am I supposed to do? What else can I do during this quarantine? I don't really, I picked up reading. That's about it. That's what the only thing I've done for the quarantine.
Reading.
I typically don't read books, but like I'm so bored. I have no form of entertainment right now. I picked up something I didn't like doing, so I was like, whatever. But I apologize, Joe. I will try to get my hours. I'll try to drum at a very reasonable hour, or I'm gonna try to insulate my
I always laugh though. Insulate. I always laugh though because I know whenever you're playing the drums. The best is it was like one afternoon I was like walking out to the gym, and you could hear you like crystal clear. Like I took a video on my phone. This was like a while ago, and in the video like you could actually hear you. It's not like it was like just me. It's hilarious. You hear you loud and clear, just going crazy on the drums.
I'm honestly surprised no one has filed like a noise complaint yet.
Yeah, Dave. Well, it's because you haven't really done it in like the crazy. Like if you start doing this at like midnight.
Okay, I have done that once before. I have done that once before. This was around Christmas time, like 2 or 3 years ago. I did play till like midnight. Like that was Christmas, or the eve of Christmas rather. So I was like, whatever, I'm gonna do it. And no one said anything, so I was like, hey, okay, I'm gonna get away with it. But but back to what I was saying though. Trying to learn some difficult songs has been very frustrating.
What songs, Dave?
What?
What songs?
I'm trying to learn right now. The main song I'm trying to still get to learn is Led Zeppelin. What is it called? Oh my God! Hold on, give me a second here, guys.
Play the beat.
Give me a second.
Play the beat.
No.
See if I can guess it.
You're just yelling at Matt to write stuff down. Jeez.
Yeah, no, I had it at the tip of my tongue too. I can't. Hold on, give me a second.
Play the beat.
I'm doing it right now. Give me a second.
He doesn't even know the beat.
I do know the beat.
What are you doing? Are you looking up the song on your phone?
Yeah, I can't think of them. Hold on. It's Good Times, Bad Times by Led Zeppelin.
Dave, you've been trying to play that song, it feels like for like a year, dude.
Dude, that like double bass thing in between there, dude, it's just the drummer, John Bonham, was an absolute animal. I don't want to go too much in detail about that, but that guy he was stupidly good. So yeah, things like that, some Rush stuff too here and there, it just didn't get me down. So I don't know, man. So like I said, I have a love-hate relationship with my instrument, but I'm gonna overcome it sometime soon, and I'm gonna get play it. But for the meantime, I'm really frustrated. But yeah, so those are the things I hate and like. So.
Did you learn that song Jackson wanted you to learn? The Blink-182 song, "Hearts All Gone," I think it was.
I got the intro and a couple half of it done, but I just never finished it.
He's a good drummer, man. I was listening to some Blink-182. I'm doing those deliveries, like I just said. And, now I can listen to the radio a lot. I was listening to some Blink stuff, and he's a good drummer, man. So
yeah, Travis Barker is a nasty. He's a nasty animal with the drum.
I don't really like a lot about that band, but the drummer I do enjoy.
Yeah, he's a tank. He's a tank. Maybe I should have gone to that concert that one time.
Maybe you should have, Dave.
Nah,
especially when you told everyone that you were gonna go for months and then just.
Yeah, Dave, that was the worst. When you were like, "Hey guys, I'm definitely gonna go," and then it was the day of, and we left late because we were waiting for you, and then you're like, "Oh, I didn't want to go."
Well, sorry guys, I do these things all the time, so get used to it. I don't even know why guys keep me as a friend. I really don't know why, but
sometimes I question. But then again, Dave,
this just reminded me.
What are you gonna do with that? What are you gonna do?
This just reminded me, Dave, of. Do you remember over the summer when I had some of my roommates come up from school, and you told us the entire week that you were going to drive us to Walnut Beach or Milford, and then
I never said I would drive. I said I was going to go with you guys, but I said
regardless, you said you were going to come with us. And then we got to your house at noon when I told you we were going to leave. And then you're like, I have chores to do. I'm on the lawn. I'm like, all right, so can I go downtown, get some ice for the cooler? And then you're like, yes, I'll be done in like half an hour. We come back half an hour later. Dave's like, oh, guys, I cannot go. And then his stepdad comes out. And we're like, oh, my gosh. So we wasted like an hour and a half when we could have been at the beach waiting for Dave.
All right, to be fair, I don't like Connecticut beaches ever since I've been spoiled with Florida
Dave,
Beach and Maryland Beach.
That's not
I
the
refuse
point.
to go to beaches in Connecticut
But
anymore.
Dave, it's not only
beach
that. You could have at least said like the night before, "Hey, I'm not going." That's the whole point.
You know what, Joe? I don't know. I should plan things better. I am sorry. I apologize.
Ugh.
It won't happen again. Promise.
What are we gonna do with you?
I don't know, man. I seriously don't know why you guys keep me as a friend, but I guess you do. So whatever.
We love you, Dave. That's why.
Yeah, like I said, what are we gonna do without you, Dave?
Exactly. You're the glue that holds everyone together.
That's right.
Try.
All right, boys. We just hit 50 minutes, so I think it's now a good time to wrap it up. Another edition of the Hicksey Nana podcast coming to a close. Stay tuned for more. Everyone stay safe out there, and we'll see y'all soon. Peace.
Bye.